One fact that not a lot of people know is that I actually grew up in a very haunted apartment. I have so many stories and paranormal experiences from growing up in that place, and I thought what better idea than to share all of those experiences with you guys, because I kid you not, there is so many. That place was so freaking haunted, like I'm not even kidding. So without further ado, let's get into the story of my haunted childhood apartment. So this was the very first apartment that my family and I moved into when we moved to Canada. To be honest, I don't know much about the building's history. I wouldn't say the building was incredibly old, but I wouldn't say that it was like brand new either. So my parents, my brother and I moved into this building, into a 2-bedroom apartment. Despite of the paranormal activity, the apartment itself was actually really great. It was super spacious and beautiful, like really amazing. But right off the bat, like things just felt weird, especially to me. I feel like I am definitely that person in my family who fully believes in the paranormal and fully picks up on like weird vibes and weird energies in the room. And even moving into that apartment at just 9 years old, I knew walking in that that place was freaking haunted. And I did like say it to my parents, but my parents obviously weren't gonna like take it seriously. I feel like every kid thinks their house is haunted. But honestly, I think as time progressed and we all lived in that apartment, by the end of it, my parents literally believed that it was haunted as well, because some of the things that happened in that apartment, you literally just cannot deny. So in order for you guys to fully understand some of the stories I'm gonna tell you, I feel like I have to explain the layout of the apartment. So basically, once you would enter the apartment, on your right would be the kitchen and the living room. On your left would be a hallway that would lead to the 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. And behind the living room and the kitchen on the other side was sort of a dining area. That's where mainly we would have like breakfast in the morning, and there was a little bit of like an office area where I would study. And this is gonna lead into the first paranormal experience that happened that like to this day is just so freaking creepy to me. And the reason that I find it creepy is because it genuinely sounds like it's from like Paranormal Activity or something. So this one day, my mom and I were cooking in the kitchen. We were just hanging out. Vibes were good. Everything was normal. We were home alone, so we knew no one else was in there except the 2 of us. We were cooking. We were having a grand old time when suddenly we heard like a very loud noise coming from that like small office space behind the kitchen. And we hear the sound and it's like so loud, and we were like, what is it? Like, what's going on? It was such a distinct sound, and I like knew what it was, but like I couldn't figure it out. So both me and my mom like pick ourselves up and run into that office space, and both of us literally see the printer printing out like hundreds of blank pieces of paper really freaking fast. And basically what we were hearing from the kitchen was the sound of that printer like ripping out all of those pieces of paper that were printing out literally nothing. Me and my mom went through every single piece of paper because we were like, what the hell is going on? And not a single piece of paper had anything printed on it. So the printer was literally printing blank paper when nobody else was home and when nobody had absolutely any reason to be using that printer. The printer experience was the first experience where I felt like my parents were like, oh my god, that is like weird. Why is the printer going off by itself? But I still wouldn't say that they were convinced this place is haunted. To be honest with you guys, that whole printer story like sticks with me to this day because it's just so terrifying to me how the machine was just going off by itself. The thing about the printer we had was that it was connected to a computer, so for somebody to like print something off of it, you would have to like go into the computer and like pick what you want to print and click print. So it was just like a lot of things that would have had to happen for that to happen. Now this next experience happened when I was home alone with my brother, and if any of you guys out there have an older brother, you know that all they want to do is make you more scared, which is exactly what happened in this situation. We were both chilling in the living room like watching TV, and right under our TV we had a big Bluetooth speaker. This speaker was always connected to the TV so that like the audio that was coming from the TV was really good. I don't remember a single time that I would ever use that speaker for anything other than watching TV. But here we were sitting in the living room and watching TV, and out of nowhere the audio from like what we're watching switches and starts playing, I kid you not, this like super old scary antique sounding music, like a very creepy old music, I kid you not. Now this is a Bluetooth speaker that is connected to my TV, so how the hell is it playing some random music that I can 100% guarantee you no one in my family would ever listen to? Dude, I was freaking out because like the music that was playing was like your very cliche horror movie music. It almost felt like a prank, like that's how scary it was. I actually went up to the speaker and like fiddled with it and tried to like see what was up with it, but like it wasn't really changing the music. My brother said that someone could have possibly connected like on the Bluetooth by accident and played that music. But my question is like, who would have connected with Bluetooth to play like the type of music that was being played off that speaker? I don't know how to describe it to you guys. Like it was a very old music, like just not music that you would like, I don't know, play off a speaker. If that makes sense. I don't know. It was just, guys, like it was really, really scary. It just made no sense how it was happening. My brother to this day will try to explain this situation away because again, he is not a believer. I believe in my intuition, and I just believe when I know that something does not make sense and is not right. And I've had so many experiences, like even in the Conjuring house, where I just know, like I know that something paranormal is happening, and I can guarantee like whatever was going on with that speaker was paranormal. Okay, now the craziest story to me that happened in this apartment is just like, to this day, the absolute proof that this place was 100% haunted. And to be honest, this paranormal experience was the one that really confirmed to me that ghosts do exist. Let me tell you why. So basically in the apartment, my brother and I shared a room, but sometimes I would want to have a sleepover by myself in the living room. Basically what I would do is I would drag all my stuff into the living room with like a bunch of snacks. I'd get candy, I'd pick a movie, I'd have like a full girls' night by myself in the living room. So for me, it was one of those nights, and I grabbed all my stuff and went into the living room. We actually had a pull-out couch in the living room, so I had a full-on bed for myself there, and I was just hanging out, eating snacks, watching a movie, and I felt so freaking tired, so I told myself I was gonna go to bed. I turned the TV off, I turned all the lights off, and I literally just tried to go to bed. But for some reason, I could not sleep. I was tossing and turning for like hours. I kid you not. I just could not sleep. And I don't know why I didn't think to just like go to my regular bed and try to sleep there, but I was so persistent on sleeping in the living room. In that living room, we had a wall that was basically all windows, and on that particular night, the moonlight was super, super bright. So even though it was really dark in the apartment, there was a little bit of light coming in, and I was turned away from the window, like with my head on the side like this, just staring at the wall, trying so hard to fall asleep, when literally I look at the wall and I kid you not, I literally see a shadow of somebody walking past the freaking window. Guys, like literally, I would not be making this up. I kid you not. This is literally the craziest experience of my life to this day. I say this to everyone. I quite literally saw somebody walking in my freaking apartment. Who the hell was that? That could not have been anybody. Literally, something just floated past the windows, and it was so freaking terrifying. And what made it even more scary was that it was literally right next to the freaking printer. So it literally seemed like this area of the apartment was like where the paranormal activity was taking place. Oh, you thought I was done? Unfortunately, there's way more. So I see this and I'm literally freaking out. Like I'm genuinely scared at this point. Like so scared that when I saw that, I kid you not, I didn't even turn around. I literally just closed my eyes when I saw that and tried so hard to fall asleep. And eventually I did, but not for long because something woke me up. At around like 4 in the morning, I wake up and I hear somebody walking from the hallway, like the main entrance of the house, into the kitchen. So I hear someone in the kitchen, but obviously I can't see into the kitchen from the bed. So I'm definitely assuming that my dad got up to get like a snack or something, because it sounded like it was someone like messing with like chips or candy or something. But the thing is, like once that ruffling stopped, I didn't hear anyone leave the kitchen. I just heard footsteps go into the kitchen and then stay there. So in my head, I'm thinking like, why is my dad not going back to bed? Why is he just standing in the kitchen? And then the more I think about it, I'm like, why am I assuming that that's my dad in the kitchen? I literally have no proof that that's my dad. So I get up, and lo and behold, my dad was not in the freaking kitchen. You know why? Do you want to find out why? You know why my dad was not in the kitchen? Because nobody was in the freaking kitchen, okay? That kitchen was completely empty. And you're telling me I heard footsteps go in there and literally grab snacks? That doesn't make any sense. Guys, I can't lie to you. By this point, I was freaking the hell out and I was convinced that this apartment was haunted, but it also is not the end of the story. So after this happened, I went back to bed and then I woke up again later in the night and I heard someone someone get up and go into the washroom. I literally heard them actually fully flush and then leave the washroom and go into my parents' bedroom. So the next morning I wake up and I tell my dad about the weird shadow and the kitchen thing. And also in passing, I mentioned to him that I heard him use the washroom. When I kid you not, this man tells me that he never went into the kitchen, he never used the washroom, and nobody got up that night. So whoever I heard enter my kitchen and whoever I heard enter my washroom was literally none of my family members. And you're telling me this place isn't haunted? There's absolutely no way. This apartment is freaking haunted. Dude, when my dad told me that this wasn't the case, I was freaking the hell out. Again, my parents didn't really care because they don't believe in that stuff, but I do, and I was terrified. Especially because I feel like I've always been a little more sensitive to like the paranormal. I don't know why, I just like really heavily feel a presence in the room when there is a presence in the room. And I felt like there were multiple in that apartment, and they were definitely playing tricks on me. Now, eventually we did end up moving out of that apartment, which is an interesting story in itself. We didn't move out because it was haunted. We moved out because we had a neighbor move in who would blast their TV like incredibly loud all night. And even weirdly enough, she would laugh like crazy, creepy loud every night at the TV. She was like an older lady, and it was definitely like creepy, very weird. But anyway, we moved out and I don't think any ghosts followed me. However, after that apartment, throughout the rest of my childhood, I had so many experiences with the paranormal, so many that I actually like had to sit down and write a list for you guys. And if you guys want to hear more of them, let me know because I'd love to make more videos like this. Comment down below if you guys have had any paranormal experiences. I fully believe in this stuff, so if you do too, we're definitely gonna get along. I'd love to hear your stories in the comments. I love you guys so much. Stay smart, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Hello everyone, it's Jana, and I'm back again with an absolutely crazy story from my childhood. I noticed that ever since I visited the Conjuring house, a lot of the memories from my own paranormal experiences have started resurfacing. And also, I kid you not, I've been having nightmares every single night, and every single night it has to do with me being alone in that house. So I don't really know what's going on, but I feel like visiting that house definitely set something off. And although I'm not noticing more paranormal activity in my life, I just feel like I'm more like open to it. As a kid, I had so many paranormal experiences that honestly, like I kind of shut that part out because I did not want to deal with it. Because like, dude, that stuff is so scary. Like, ghosts are terrifying. Imagine being alone in a house that you believe is haunted. My absolute worst nightmare. So today's story all took place in one night in my childhood, but I feel like I do have to give you a little bit of backstory before we actually get started. I can't guarantee how old I was when all of this happened, but I will say that I was between the ages of 13 to 15, I believe. Somewhere in that spectrum. And at the time, I had my first quote-unquote job, which was babysitting. And I was only babysitting one kid in my building who was a family friend of mine. Honestly, I think babysitting is like everyone's first job. I didn't mind babysitting and I liked making some extra cash. But all in all, the point of the story is that I did have some experience babysitting. So on one particular New Year's Eve, I do not remember for the life of me what year it was. I know that my whole family got together at my aunt's house and we all wanted to celebrate New Year's together. It wasn't just like close family, it was close family and extended family and like friends of extended family, and there were so many people there that I didn't really even know or wasn't introduced to, so it wasn't like your typical small family get together. It was basically a party. So when I got there, I immediately noticed that I was the oldest kid there, which if you knew anything about like family get-togethers, like you always want your cousins to be there and you're like close in age family so that you can like have someone to play with. I kid you not, I was the oldest kid at this party, so I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be the most boring New Year's ever. I'm not gonna have anything to do. I'm gonna be so bored. Little did I know I was in for quite a wild ride. So the beginning of the party was fine. Everyone was hanging out and all the adults went into the basement to have a couple of drinks. Now, as the night was progressing, like more and more people were drinking and more people were going down into the basement. And that's when like an extended family member of mine, I literally can't remember who it was. I just know that I wasn't necessarily close with them and I don't really remember knowing them too well, but they approached me holding this little girl's hand who was maybe like 2 to 4 years old max. snacks, and they said to me, hey, I'm gonna go down into the basement and drink with the rest of the adults. Could you please just watch her and make sure she's fine? To be honest with you, that was by far like the most interesting thing that happened to me that night. So I was like, sure, why not? I'll watch your daughter or granddaughter, or I don't even know. I'll watch this kid and you go have fun. So here I am at this New Year's party, now essentially babysitting this girl who I don't really know anything about. But again, I did have some experience babysitting and I was so bored, so I wasn't just gonna sit there in silence with her. So I started talking to her and trying to get to know her. And I do remember this little girl being insanely smart for her age. She was not that talkative. When she would talk, she was very smart. I remember like thinking of different ways to like entertain her and what to do to keep her company. So I thought, why don't we play hide and seek? Now the house had 3 floors and all the adults, like the whole party was basically in the basement. So we had the main and the top floor to ourselves. And I knew this house pretty well because it was my aunt's house. So I felt comfortable to play hide and seek there. The little girl was totally down. So I told her that she would hide and I would seek because I felt like that's like more interesting for the kid. Like I feel like when kids play hide and seek, they play hide and seek because they want to hide, not because they want to look for people. So I told her, go hide somewhere and I'm gonna go find you. So I close my eyes, I count, whatever, open my eyes, and she is gone. So I'm walking around the house and I'm looking for her, and immediately I just think to go upstairs. I assumed that she would hide upstairs because she would think I wouldn't look there. And like this house isn't huge, but something about it was like very eerie at the time, especially because again, there was a party going on in the basement, but for some reason it was like dead quiet upstairs. Like you would not be able to hear anyone downstairs. You wouldn't be able to hear any music. Dead quiet, like really freaking creepy. I make my way upstairs. I start looking through the bedrooms. I turn into like the first left bedroom, I think it was, when you got upstairs. And I'm searching for her. I'm like cracking jokes. And out of nowhere, from my right side, like storming out of the room from the far right hallway, is the little girl literally running at me, bawling her eyes out, saying that there was something under the bed. I look at her. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean there was something under the bed? So this girl walks me to the other bedroom and basically tells me that she was trying to hide under the bed from me when she felt someone grab her while she was hiding under the bed. Now listen, I know little kids have crazy imaginations. Their brains are just like bursting with different ideas and thoughts, and so like I didn't immediately think anything of it. Even though this girl was genuinely like very upset, she was very scared. She did not want to continue playing hide and seek, which was personally fine by me because I wanted to like dig deeper into this. Keep in mind, I was pretty young at the time too, and the whole concept of the paranormal was super intriguing to me. And here was this little girl telling me that there was someone under the bed. Hell yeah, I'm gonna investigate this. So I start asking her like, who was under the bed? What did you see? What happened? She said that it looked like a goblin, one of these guys. It was at that point where I was like, okay, things are getting very creepy, especially because again, this girl is pretty young. So like in my eyes, if she's saying something, she's probably not making it up, especially with the amount of detail that she was going into. Anyway, so this happens and kind of kills the vibe, obviously, because the girl's now scared. I'm kind of on the edge of my seat too. So I say, why don't we go back down onto the main floor and just hang out? We go downstairs and I grab some paper and some crayons for her to play with. I don't know, I felt like drawing was the most harmless thing for a child to do. I could just chill and she could just draw and we could just forget about the whole goblin situation. I feel like the word goblin sounds weird and funny, but like in the moment, I swear it was scary. So we're on the main floor and she's drawing and I'm hanging out, and you guys, like, you're gonna think the next part I literally made up. I am truly not lying to you. Like, what I'm about to tell you genuinely happened, and it scared the absolute crap out of me. Like, this is the most mind-blowing, terrifying thing ever. To this day, this is my scariest paranormal experience ever, hands down. So you know how I told you I gave her like a piece of paper and crayons? And you know how I told you that this girl was drawing? So you know, I peek over there to see what she's doing, and I'm like, hey, what are you doing? What are you drawing there? And I kid you not, this girl turns the paper to me and says, I'm drawing you holding hands with the goblin from under the bed. I'm sorry, she was drawing me holding hands with the goblin that she saw under the bed. Now let me describe this drawing for you because I remember it perfectly. I actually kept this drawing for the longest time but ended up getting rid of it because like what was the point of keeping it? It was literally a kid drawing of like a little green hill and a stick person, myself, holding hands with like a tiny little basically demon. And I was like, why would you draw me holding hands with him? And again, you're gonna think I'm lying. You're gonna think this is fake. It's not. I'm not lying. I swear to God, this girl said, I'm drawing you with him because he likes you. The gremlin under the bed liked me. So you can imagine I'm losing my absolute goddamn mind at this point. And this is not one of those situations where I'm like, oh, I'll just kind of let it go. Hell no, I was freaking terrified. So much so that I took this girl, I brought her down to the basement, gave her to her parents, and literally explained everything to them. I said, hell no, I am not babysitting this girl any longer. Then I kid you not, I ran to my mom and my aunt and I told them everything that happened. Obviously, they were like, there's no way this girl can like talk to demons. But like, why would a girl so young make something like that up? Like, yeah, she could have been messing with me, but like, if she was that young messing with me, that's like crazy. It's widely known that like kids are more in tune with like the spiritual side. I think their brains are just so much more imaginative. Kids are just in tune with the other side a lot better than we are. So I genuinely believe that this girl was seeing some sort of like spirit in the house, and she saw it under the bed and she saw it like next to me, and for some reason she thought it would be great to draw us holding hands together. Now after this whole incident, I went home and I googled what does it mean when I'm drawn holding hands with like a spirit or something, and I kid you not, what it said online was that it means that that spirit is now forever attached to me. So basically, while I was babysitting this girl, she forever tied me to a spirit for the rest of my life. At least that's what I read. Now after this babysitting experience was when all of my other paranormal experiences in my old apartment happened, which I also made a video about. I'll put the link in the description, but I feel like this event definitely kicked off like a pattern of paranormal activity in my childhood. This is one of just like so many stories, honestly, almost an infinite amount of stories. I just feel like the paranormal has always followed me. I don't mind it, but like it's definitely creepy. It gives me a lot of good stories though. But yeah, you guys, that is my weird, scary babysitting experience. If you guys have any weird babysitting stories, make sure to comment them down below. If you have any paranormal stories, also let me know. I'd love to hear your guys' experiences. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.